So we're budgeting here, guys. We're just talking about budgeting and putting money into our heaters. That's awesome, Josh. I love when you got to put that much money into your heater. So we're live, guys. Welcome to Landscaping to the Point. Josh always loves to talk about how much he spends in gas and oil into his house. So
And I'm still cold.
Me too. You're still cold? Dude, I just put $550 in my propane tank and only got like 60%. So that's what sucks. And then you gotta.
Well, considering you're sitting there in a fucking t-shirt and hat, what do you expect? Fucking dress your temperature.
That's a great point. Look at the New England boys over here. You got one in a hoodie and one winter hat, and one here all dressed up, and you got.
Yeah, I'm in a t-shirt. Yeah, what's wrong with that? It's
warm here. Flannel, a t-shirt, and an undershirt. None of that.
Dude, you know what it is? Like, he doesn't have to worry about burning propane. He could just burn corn.
Yeah, I could burn corn. I could just go out and get all the corn I needed. I mean, really, it's right outside. I just have to pick it up and just throw it in the heater.
Dude, he's in the
or
woods.
Get the firewood.
Man, they burn crosses and shit down there. What are you talking about, bro? They're burning crosses in cornfields, dude.
Cornfields, yeah. Oh yeah. You never know what's getting burned in the cornfield.
That's
why they call it the children of the corn. So. You never know which child's in the cornfield, so watch out. Welcome everybody to Landscaping to the Point. We are here. We're going to have a great session today. My topic of the week is upgrading. Josh loves to upgrade every year. He spends like $10,000 at least every month on upgrading shit that he has in his fleet, so that way he's ready to go. So Josh or JC, either or, when is the best time for you guys to upgrade your equipment for the season?
When it breaks.
When it breaks. Yeah, me too. I think that's the best time, really. But is it better to do at the end of the season to get that tax break, or is it easier to go at the beginning of the year and be able to use it for the whole year? What do you guys think?
I think beginning it. So, like, for me, obviously it's per season. So, like, end of the year, it's, winter stuff we're buying. I'm like, I don't really see. I don't like buying like a mower or something to sit on it for 6 months. Whereas,
right
at the same time, like corporate taxes are due at a certain time. You can sneak in a write off if you wanted to or not. They're due by March 15th. But I would prefer like spring stuff. I buy into the winter stuff. I buy, into the landscaping season. Just works better for me that way. I mean, if there's a killer deal, then maybe, yeah. But like even right now, we're looking at adding 2 more mowers, and I've been shopping those. And I feel like you'll get the better price this time of year because dealers are trying to push up maybe last year's models, and giving you a better bundle price on maybe like a 2024, and to get the new stuff in. So rather than like, they know that they're going to push that shit out anyway. So they'll wait and not maybe, cut you as better of a deal as if you wait till then.
I think it's better at the beginning of the season, like you say, especially with snow and, even with, mowing. I mean, mowing and landscaping, I think it's better at the beginning of the season. So you get that full year because, I hear a lot of guys that they try to wait till the end of the year and then get that tax break at the last minute. And, it's good, but I think you're sitting on that. You're sitting, even if it's a mowing piece of equipment, you're sitting there, 2-3 months, maybe 4 months that it sits in your garage that you ain't done shit with it, and you're spending money on it. You know what I'm saying? You spent that money to get it, or you got that loan that you're paying on.
You're talking close to 5-6 months, and like the other way I look at it too, like if you say you save $500 on a lawnmower, right, like a ride-on mower,
right,
and it sits for 6 months. I feel like that's like 6 months out of the warranty you're taking off that too from your purchase date. So you're not even running that thing. You buy it, November, and you're not bringing it out till April. You're cutting, half a year off that warranty.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing too. I mean, plus then, like on that case, you don't even know if something's going to break down, and that could break down within that. If you only got a year warranty on it, I mean, that could have break down in 6 months of sitting there, afterwards. And, oh, look, what are you going to do then? you only got 6 months into work out of it. So, I mean, yeah, I agree with you on that too. I mean, I like to get it in as soon as possible is what I look at it. Josh, now you do a lot of buying of equipment. Do you add that into, like, say, your snow equipment? Do you add that into your landscaping over the year, into your budget, or do you just budget it for the snow removal?
Budgeted for the snow removal because most of the landscape, the snow removal stuff we don't use in the landscape side. Like the trucks, yeah, but they're kind of budgeted across the board. But like loaders and skid steers are mainly used for the snow removal. So it's not it's we same company, but we treat it as two separate budgets and divisions. So
Right. So, I mean, you got separate budgets for each one, correct?
yeah.
Okay. Brightstone's over on Instagram. He has the joke of the week. So here's we go. He told his friend, "I turn over a new leaf this year," and his friend handed him a rake.
He still has another 40 minutes to come up with a better joke.
I don't want to
hope
be.
you hear that, Brightstone.
You might be some effort in that one too. I don't want to be the one.
Sorry, Brightstone.
Sorry. It was kind of funny, but it was one of those dad jokes, pretty much almost. So
Yeah. Well, you gotta appreciate those dad jokes at times.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're meant for.
Yeah, they're always fun.
Yeah.
So, Josh, I heard that you should take your equipment, like even your trucks. Do you budget it when you're budgeting? Do you budget in for your mowing and your landscaping and mowing and snow removal? Do you budget that into your budget so that way you can have money to buy new ones when they're up for upgrading?
I mean, so the trucks are in there. Yeah, like there's a certain dollar amount, like to the depreciated for the 3 years, we can depreciate them, and then once they get there, then we see where we are as far as like repairs, if we turn them over or not, buy new ones, buy used ones, and make the decision on that. It all depends on how busy we are. Like again, after this year for snow, we scaled way up. And we're gonna end up scaling back again next year, and trying to keep the margins the same. But it affects the budgets in that way where, we'll probably dump up some of the equipment we picked up this summer for the winter and, probably try to use that cash to buy equipment when we scale down, get rid of some of the trucks to buy maybe like a used skid steer or another used loader or something to put on site. But yeah, the budgets are there. And if we know that like right now I have one of my older dump trucks is kind of on its last legs where we know, we're tying that into the budget this year. We're gonna throw a ton of money at it, a new dump bed at it, just to get it through, and then retire it probably mid-season, and maybe bring in something new this year, and that'll get budgeted in. But
Okay.
and I always look just like like the older trucks, it's like I fix it. Like a lot of guys are like, no, you just fix that shit. And it's like, dude, like you count the time that you're under the truck on your off time, the amount of repairs, the amount of downtime, and then, you look at what like a payment would cost on, if even not even a new truck, but like a pre-owned truck, certified pre-owned, see what your payment is, and it might save you a lot of time and headache to just get into something a little bit newer. That's how I look at it. I weigh my options. I look at, if I throw 10 grand into a truck in 1 year, knowing that I'll still have to throw a couple grand into it each year, is it worth it? Or should I just try to go with new or certified pre-owned and get a warranty with it in hopes that, that kind of outweighs like the headaches of the downtime and elbow grease.
So here's a question to both of you, because I know, JC, you ran a company for years. Josh, you're still running a company. There's always a debate about buying brand new versus used. And which do you guys like to go with when it comes to equipment?
I contradicted myself because I bought something new, but I probably should have taken the money that I spent on something new and bought a used, more commercial grade piece of equipment that would have been better for me. But another thing too is you could try to get a demo unit, and if you're looking to upgrade or even buy a mower, like try to find a dealer that has a demo unit and see if you can negotiate to try to buy, that type of piece of equipment for a lower price. And to answer your earlier question about when's the best time to upgrade, I mean, it is kind of funny because if something breaks, yeah, you do need to upgrade and buy something or replace something too. But I think the springtime, especially if you're going into the mowing season, if you're gonna buy a mower, like I like to go, I would recommend the route to go get a demo unit. But like on a smaller scale, let's say you just want like a regular push mower and you're looking to get something used, like during the end of the season is when like most homeowners or like smaller businesses are trying to get rid of stuff. So it really varies on the time that you could get a deal. It could be any time. You're trying to get like a cheap like push mower or like an aerator or something like that. I think towards the end of the season is when companies start to offload some of their equipment that they've already used for the season. So that could be something you can consider too. And then the other thing is like on the contrary, upgraded. Have you ever had a piece of equipment that was overkill that you sold to downgrade to a different piece of equipment that fits your needs a little better? You know?
Yeah. Josh, your thoughts?
What was that initial question again? JC kind of. I lost my train of thought on that one. There was a question, and then he answered the earlier question. So
No, so I think what happens, he asked a question, I
Oh.
answered something completely different.
yeah, so I was
He answered like 4 questions.
wait. I answered this earlier. I know it. I'm not drinking that much yet. Fucking.
My question was, there's a big debate over brand new versus used. Which would you choose and why? I mean, I think that it comes down to, because like there's a lot of guys on Instagram and all that stuff, and then a lot of groups that are talking about like 90 to 100K for a brand new truck is ridiculous. When us guys are going out and we're beating the crap out of stuff, is it worth putting 90 to 100K into a truck compared to like buying a good used truck for like 30 grand or something? You know what I'm saying?
Look, I drive like newer Dodges, and the reason I do that is because of the price point. Right,
Okay.
those Dodge 3/4 tons to 1 tons are 30 to 60 grand versus like a nice F-250's 80 grand. I think it all depends on your preference and what you have for budgets. I see the best of both sides. Like, there's nothing that's more peace of mind than going out in the middle of winter and starting a brand new truck, knowing that it's going to start every time, which they could break down, but it's less likely they will. There's also the headaches of now a brand new truck breaks down and you're at the dealer for 6 months because they're backed up and they don't have parts because the truck's so new or whatnot. And I've had used trucks that have fucking ran great and have no issues. And I've had used trucks that were pieces of shit. I think it's all what you put into it. Uh, Again, like, so the mowers, I think I would try to go. I've bought old mowers and I've bought brand new mowers and I've bought mowers that were a couple years old. I think if you have the means for it, buying brand new is great. If you don't, you try to get the best bang for your buck. Like JC said, sometimes at the end of the year, smaller companies are getting rid of their stuff. Sometimes I notice they get rid of their shit at the end of the landscape season. If you wait till springtime, usually they'll use their tax dollars, their refund dollars, or maybe some of the spring money to rotate their equipment inventory. And maybe that 3 or 4 year old mower they had, they need to sell that to justify buying a brand new $20,000 mower. So you can get it with that. But I think there's new serves different purposes. On the snow side, a Caterpillar loader on the cheap end. You can't get into a cat loader for less than 150K after taxes right now. That's not feasible for a lot of people. So a lot of people have to look at, mid 90s to mid 2000s for like, the 20 to 60 to 70,000 range. And there's nothing wrong with that. I run used loaders and I put money into them, but they run, 20 hours per storm nonstop. They push a ton of snow. They serve the same purpose. I have brand new skid steers that have fucking broken down when I've needed them, and Cat didn't have fucking parts for them or wouldn't come out right away. So I think it all depends on what you want, what you can afford. I'm big on the newer trucks. Nothing wrong with a used truck, but if you're gonna buy it off someone, know what you're getting into. have it checked out. But yeah, compactors, hand tools, I've bought used, I bought new. New is the peace of mind in knowing that it should work for at least a year with no headaches. But that's not always
Right.
the case. So you're paying the extra money to know that you should have that peace of mind, that warranty. Used, you're rolling the dice that you might go out and go to use that tool, that truck, or that equipment, and then it doesn't start up for you or run how it should.
Right. So I got a comment here from Bright. So I'm going to show you Josh up on the thing here. There you go. I like to read it for a second.
I like that one. I'll give him that. That's good.
That's the joke of the week.
You
know,
redeemed
I wish.
yourself.
Yeah. If you're driving Dodge and they're that good of a price where you're at, I think I'm gonna come up to you and buy Dodge, because Dodge are over here are like more expensive than a Ram, than a Ford and everything. So
Well,
I mean,
Rams in general, if you're not getting like power window, power, like I don't have power seats in my Dodges. I have power windows, power door locks. I don't have heated seats or anything. They're not leather. You can get into a 2,500, 3,500 for 40, 50 grand with a blade. It all depends on how you shop it. You
right,
get even the dump trucks. You can get into like probably a 3,500 to 5,500 for about 70K, 100K if you put in the big package, and that is on the cheaper side, I believe, because like you get a 550 Ford, I all boxes and like some works, you're looking at over 120 grand.
If money wasn't
yeah.
an option, what's the best truck?
Chevy,
Why?
fucking Chevy's the most reliable truck I've ever had. I was a mechanic for years. Ford suck. They break. They work hard, but they break. You're gonna put your money into them. Dodges don't last. Dodge is obviously, like I said, you're buying it cheaper, but you got to know that truck's not gonna last 200,000 miles on a gas motor. Chevys, if you maintain it, those fucking Chevys will last fucking 40, 50 years, 400,000 miles. You know, Fords are usually rotting out, or you're going through motors, and the power stroke's gone to shit ever since the 6 liter took over. Um, what is it now? The 6.7 is like a piece of shit over there with the power stroke.
Yeah, I think so. Or 7. No, mine's got a 7-liter. So
Power stroke. I think
yeah,
it's a 6.7 power stroke to have them. I'm not 100%,
yeah,
but Duramax. I mean, I think Chevy's the way. If I could put everything Chevy, but I can't justify the price point. I love it. I love Chevy. Um, just what it is. Everything's Dodge now because of the price point. They're easy to
right,
fix. The parts are cheaper for them. You can flip them for a decent residual value. You're not going to get rich off them, but like when you look at like when you purchase it, if you don't take that tax write off immediately and you depreciate them, and then you flip them over, you can on an 8-year-old truck you can still get 25K. For something with
right,
150,000 miles on it, so it's not bad.
right. So now, okay, let's say if you're buying a pickup truck versus like a dump truck, do you feel like buying a dump truck, you're going to get a best return on your investment when you go and turn to sell it? I feel like because I had a dump truck years ago. Literally, I bought it cheap off of another company, and I turned around and sold it for the same amount without a motor running in it. So, I feel like dump trucks you're going to be able to sell because they're more versatile. You're going to get more out of them compared to a pickup truck.
Dump truck prices are ridiculous. Like, okay, let's talk. You were talking used, right?
Right. Yeah.
Used dump truck prices are ridiculous. They're all over the fucking place. If there's a cheap dump truck, it's cheap for a reason. You're gonna throw a fucking arm and a leg into it. Going into a dump truck new is fucking expensive, right? And
Right.
350s not so much, but 550s, and then getting into like your 2 ton, your 2.5 ton, that gets expensive. You're gonna spend at a minimum 20 grand on a decent dump truck. I feel something that can haul 4 or 5 yards that you're not gonna beat the shit out of. And if you're getting it used, like I try to like advise people to like buy used dump trucks from areas they know, maybe from companies like a bigger company that maybe mulch with their dump truck, because I know companies that have put dump trucks up for like $70,000 and they've run fucking stone and loam in a 5,500 fucking Chevy when that thing should have been running like fucking 5 yards of mulch. They kill them. So you don't always see that. It might look nice and shiny, but then they beat the living piss out of it. Um,
Right.
there's definitely residual of that. I think if you buy that dump truck and you take very good meticulous care of it, there's a lot of residual value on the back end. A lot.
Josh is buying a Cybertruck.
I would
Yeah, he's
never
gonna
buy a
buy
fucking
about 10 of
Cybertruck.
them. He's gonna have a whole fleet by the end of next year.
I'd buy a fucking Volkswagen Bug before I bought a fucking Cybertruck. And I'd put a little fucking dandelion on the fucking dashboard too.
He has one on in his Chevy.
Oh yeah, that would be interesting. So okay, so now going back, JC, you had a question at the end of your what was that question that you had?
Oh, shit, which one? I don't know. My memory's so shot, bro.
Yeah, I know. We're all that bad.
I don't know. I was saying, has there ever been a time that you realize that you have a piece of equipment that's too advanced for what you really need, and if you've downgraded, maybe sold that to get two of something else that's a little more convenient for you. You know what I mean? Like let's say you
I know
have
what you're
like,
saying.
I don't know. Like,
I mean, I feel like you can. I've never had that. I've never. Yeah, I had. Yeah, I'd say I have. I mean, I did have a bigger sit down mower, and I downgraded, but then I felt like it wasn't performing as well, so I had to upgrade back up to almost the same thing because the performance wasn't there.
would
You
you
see
have
what I'm
been
saying?
better off if you kept it?
Yeah, I would have been better off if I would have kept it than downgrading.
Yeah, I mean,
Josh,
like,
your thoughts?
no, like
No,
you never had like
your
a loader that was maybe too big for what you actually needed, and then you bought like, I don't know, two smaller ones, or no?
No.
I've
You ever
always
want
been
to buy bigger?
Oh, yeah, but I think I have the opposite issue where like I'm very cheap, and I'm also nervous about some of the purchases that I'll go a little smaller. My issue's always been I've gone smaller and ended up needing to fucking buy bigger and fuck myself. Well, like I might overpay a little bit to get something used a little nicer, but a little bit too small for what it might need. Like I've bought loaders that were too small, and then at the like halfway through winter, gone fuck. Like I'm kind of screwed with this. So now I'm careful. I try to be more careful as far as what I'm going to get and plan ahead of time. Like what am I going to do with this? I don't think I've ever purchased and had it been like, okay, I need to downsize or exchange this to make the difference. No.
Right.
I usually find use for anything I have, whether I'm not using it. Like I have an enclosed trailer that we didn't use as much, and I like it becomes storage. It becomes a rolling office. It becomes inventory, a rolling inventory. A rolling trailer of inventory. So
Has there? Okay. What's your options when you go to buy something? Let's say new or used. Are you looking more to finance it to overtake the monthly payment so it's not so much, or is it better for you guys to go ahead and buy outright?
if the points are cheap, I would finance every time.
Okay.
Having the money for it,
Right.
I like
Yeah.
I like money in my pocket. I know some guys are like cash is king, cat like I want to pay cash up front. I've had too many instances in life in general where I've needed cash and I spent it on something. It is nice the peace of mind that it's paid for, but again, if you have the money and you can use that, you get a low interest rate and an affordable payment, and that money's already there in an account, and you can just pay it off. So if something does come up, you can play with that money. I'd much rather have cash on hand to play with something else rather than 20 grand on a mower or 100 grand on a loader. Out the door.
Right. JC, your thoughts?
I've never been big enough to have to buy equipment in that capacity. So anything that I have, I've always just paid it cash, and I didn't have much, so it was a little easier for me to do it in that sense. But I think if you're running a business, then you have to consider those options, because you need equipment to make you money right then and there. So
Right.
like you might not have the option to buy to do it cash, that you're gonna have to wait to get it, and all that time that you've waited, you could have been making money off of it and then even pay it with the work that you've already put into it. So again, I was just more part-time, very small, single operator individual, so I never really had to go that route.
Right. I've had both ways. I mean, I've bought stuff, cash outright, and then I've bought stuff, finance wise. I feel like what Josh is saying, shit happens. I mean, you never know when it's going to happen, and if you can get the financing and you have the credit and you can get a good rate on it, why not finance it? Because it's going to help you out in the long run. Because, like Josh says, if you got the cash on hand and something else comes up, you can go ahead and take care of that. You never know when something's going to break down or something happens, then you got to go ahead and use that cash for something else. So I think that's one of the positives about financing is if you can finance it, that's great. I mean, take it over, so much of a time and take it care of it that way, especially with mowers. I mean, mowers are one of them things that a lot of the mowers, are, especially in this time of year, they're always doing that 0% financing. They want you to get that mower, so go ahead and jump in it. If you got the credit, jump into it and get that 0% financing. And, so you're paying for 4 years. So what? By then you're ready to go get another one.
This might be unpopular opinion, and I've preached this for years, where the 0% financing is fucking it's key. If you can get it, it's free money. You're using someone else's money to make yourself money. But even if you're getting kind of a shit rate, right? So a shit rate essentially for commercial money would be anything over, let's say, 7%, right? Realistically, right? Because not everybody in this industry is walking in with a perfect credit score to get 0% finance. So Sheffield wants immaculate credit in order to get those rates, right?
Very true. Yeah.
And a lot of times guys in this industry don't have it. There's nothing wrong with financing something at 10, 12, 14, 20, 25%, right? Unpopular opinion is what I've said. But if you're taking that rate and you're building it into your numbers, you're not paying for it. It's not technically costing you anything. You just have to make sure that you can afford those payments, right? That's probably an additional, year's worth of payments on a mower when you're paying up to 30%, So you want to make sure that you could build that in. So you have the depreciation on the tool plus your payments. You can write off the interest. You can write off 100% of the interest. So if you're paying 30%, if you put it on a bad credit card, that 30%, 100% of it, 100% of it gets written off. You make your payments for the 2 years while you're depreciating that piece of equipment, and then you sell it off. Hopefully, you take care of it, and you get maybe 20% residual resell on it. That's a pretty good fucking deal. So you don't have to be scared if you have bad credit to go into a place. It doesn't cost you nothing but a hard hit to see if you apply for, if you qualify for it. Just do the math and make sure it makes sense to you. Don't finance something when you don't have the customers. Don't start in anything and go, I'm gonna go finance a $20,000 mower, with $400 a month payments and not have any fucking customers. At that point, you're better off doing a couple mulch jobs, going out, saving up $2,000-3,000, buying a shit box mower, mowing for a year, seeing what you got for clientele. The next year, go, you know what? I can at least break even with the accounts I have right now that have already signed up with me. If I can double that, I know I make that profit after it's already paid for. Boom.
Right.
So don't be scared if you don't have the 0% option.
Right.
0% is where you want to be, but it's unrealistic to expect that everybody that's going to go in there is going to qualify for that.
Is it me or is it like is Gravely seem to be always the one that comes to mind when they offer the 0% financing?
Gravely does. Aaron's does, which is owned by Gravely. I think there's a couple other ones that do, but I know like Wright does like an extra percentage down. You know what I'm saying? Like in the beginning of the spring, I feel like they do like a 10% finance fee. You know what I'm saying? If you finance through them, but I don't think there's that many companies that actually do the 0% financing anymore.
The only one I knew was Gravely.
Right. If you find it, it's like you got to you if you want that more, you better jump on it. You know what I'm saying? It's
commercial money's not cheap now. Borrowing commercial money's not cheap. So it's going to be real. If you, like you said, if you can find it, qualify. But a lot of the times, even like like decent candidates aren't going to get it. You know, so it's like you're going to pay points on it, but at the end of the day, like I said, if you put it into your overhead, into your numbers, you're not paying for it.
Brightstone says he's seen that John Deere's have a 0% going on. So I mean, John Deere's doing it, but isn't John Deere mowers built by Gravely? I want to say, yeah, I want to say yeah. Chris, I'm
But
Peter's
who's
mower.
who's the finance company though? Because is it Gravely Finance or is it Sheffield?
I don't know. See that I'm interested in looking that up.
So the 0% for a long time, there were two. One was Turf Credit and one was Sheffield. Sheffield was infamous for the 0% if you were paid in full by like the 3-year mark.
right. Yeah, I'm very interested on it. So if you okay. Chris Peters more say try to double up on payments. Yeah, you could try to double up on payments if you can. And make sure you can afford it in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, make sure you definitely can afford it in off season, especially if you're in like an area like Josh and them where you're really not mowing for 4 months. You know, if you're not doing anything else for those 4 months. I mean, I know a couple companies here in my area that literally do nothing during the winter season. They don't plow, they don't do salt, they don't do any of that stuff. So you got to remember that if you're not doing any of that type of work to make sure you can afford those payments, make sure you put it off to the side instead of just sitting there without money coming in and not and being a payment going out. I think that's one of the things when you go into business, and you should budget. You know, definitely budget it. You know, especially mowing. You know, it's kind of like a year-round thing down south, but they still take weeks off. They're not mowing every week. You know, a lot of the companies aren't. So you got to make sure you budget totally for the whole year with it, whatever mowing you got. You know, I think that's one of the definitely things. Brightstone says he knows that a John Deere 636 is basically a right stander. So literally it's pretty much the right, just painted green. And I think that's true. I think that one of those companies own that. So yeah. So going forward, Josh and JC, you know, JC, if you were be able to start all over again, let's say you started all over again, would you go finance ahead of time, or would you just go ahead and buy another used mower and start all over again?
For my, I mean, the way I was doing it again, I have a full-time job, so I was doing it on a part-time basis. I think I'd do it again similar. I'd buy a used one just for me because I'm not looking to get like a bunch of clients. I would have done it differently than I did it initially, but yeah, I'd probably get a better quality used commercial grade mower, and then just kind of work my way up and upgrade my equipment as needed. You know, I mean,
Right.
I think if I were considering it on a full time basis, a bigger scale, and 100% of my attention to my livelihood, you know, maybe I'd consider a different option. But yeah, if I'm looking at it from a part-time perspective, I'd do it the same. You know,
Right. Money Mike, what's up, buddy? He said, you guys are correct. Sheffield finances mowers, snow equipment, ATVs, and etc. I think Sheffield's like one of the main things on small engine equipment. And, you know, I know there's other big companies, but I think there's I think Yardman or something like that finances Sheffield. And I think maybe one other company. That's it, really.
Like Yard Card or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Actually,
There's
you know
not
what?
many companies.
Pro Part Directs works with all them because they own Turf Depot up in New Hampshire, and I think they work with same thing. Because they're always pushing the Sheffield offers in the spring.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If you guys are looking for it, you know, go to them, right? That's your buddies over there. Just say Josh when you go into Pro Parts Direct or Turf Depot, and they'll hook you up. Let's see here. Okay.
I'd buy a fresh new pair of Cujos as well too.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Cujo, for sponsoring the show, because if you go down to the link, you can get 10% off for the first time. But they always got good deals on that stuff too. They always got sales. I think everybody has sales, especially in the spring. I think there's so many good sales in the spring. If you're looking to buy, I think that the spring is better to look for a new piece of equipment, like you said, Josh, because of they have the old stuff, they have the newer stuff. They want to get rid of that old stuff, so they might be able to make a better deal for you on the long end over something that's brand new.
Look for companies that change model tags too. So like Cat for instance just went from like the 246, the 262, the 259, and 279, and now they make like the I don't know, they switched the name tag to like a 525 or something. And those same machines that were 262 that was going out at 72,000, Cat had called me up in the beginning of the year saying, "Hey, we're not making that plate anymore. They want us to push it out. I'll put it out the door at 66,000." You know, didn't need it, but it was good to know. And you put that where maybe if there's some other manufacturers between mowers, backpack blowers, they might just push some of those nameplates out.
Right.
Yeah, I get a question.
Brightstone's got a better joke right now.
Oh,
Brightstone's got a better joke.
I want to hear the
You ready?
joke. Yeah.
He said he tried making sushi for the first time. It was a raw experience. Josh, thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know if that one's better than the last one.
We got to start having scorecards every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get scorecards.
I'm going to say that one was better than the last one he said.
I like the Dodge and Ram one. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. Hey, I got a question for you guys. So, speaking of upgrading, when I was younger, like whenever the new iPhone would come out, I'd upgrade my phone. And I think the older I've gotten, the less I really cared about doing that. And there was really no need to when I was younger. I just did it because I wanted the latest and greatest. But when's the last time you guys upgraded your phones?
I just upgraded mine about a month and a half ago. And it wasn't, I went in because my daughter wanted an iPhone. So when I walked in, I've been a customer for 20 years with the same company. So literally, and I have probably 8 phones under their account. So they were literally like, we'll give you a brand new phone today, because you came in, and then we'll give you the iPhone for free. So literally I walked out with the iPhone, I think 15 or 16, whatever's new, and then a brand new Samsung, literally right out the door for free. So, I mean, that was the last time I upgraded. But before that, I mean, for me, it's like every 2 to 3 years. Josh?
I just got rid of the iPhone 10 that I had because, and I didn't want to. My daughter broke her phone, but I refused to buy her another phone because she didn't take care of that one. So I fixed mine, gave it to her, and upgraded my phone to. And I didn't even upgrade all the way to the 15. I think I got the 13. So I don't like phones. Don't make me money at all. That's how I look at it. I hate the idea that phones are like $1,000 for something they used to give you for free if you signed a 2-year agreement. So I'm not big on telephones. I don't need the coolest and the newest phone whatsoever, dude. I'd use. You know what I pay for right now? A Nextel. If I could get my hands on a Nextel, I would use a Nextel.
Oh yeah, Nextel was where it was at, dude. I mean, that was definitely where it was at back in the day. I mean, yeah. I I definitely if we could go back to Nextel and be able to.
But what we do now, I would prefer to have an Nextel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think it was in the right spot. Brightstone wants to know. Here's a good question for you. Where are you now, and what are your plans for the year when it comes to equipment? Do you plan on? I mean, Josh, I know you're looking to probably upgrade a plow truck or dump truck by the end of the next year, or halfway through the season.
We're adding a used dump truck. We're repairing an existing big dump truck. We're looking at repairing. We're waiting for the mechanic to come back with like the total cost of repair.
Right.
Probably adding a newer 550 to the construction side, and then mowers, weed whackers, all new this year. Probably a new open trailer or a ramp rack. I haven't decided on that yet.
I like the ramp.
And then on the winter, huh?
I like the ramp rack.
Yeah, me too. We're trying to just make sure that they're going to be efficient going into the city versus like a small trailer with a dump insert. I haven't really sat down to do the numbers on that yet. But and then on the snow side right now, we've we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty probably in April for next year's budget on snow. But if I had to say right now, I think we're looking on adding a brand new mini loader somewhere in like the Cat 908 size. Um,
Right.
but probably like honestly like XCMG because there's probably about like a $30,000 difference in cost. And then that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of additions going on right now, so gonna try to
Right.
hold the course with what we're buying this year and move. We got a lot of infrastructure we're investing in for material sales, salt for next year, brine for next year, mulch for this year. So a lot of inside costs for that.
Yeah, I agree with him. Yeah, I mean, we just bought the newer truck this year, just about a month and a half ago. Also, the only thing we're looking at is um, definitely gonna get a V plow. I've never had a V plow, so we want to get a V plow for the newer truck. And then maybe a salter for it. But other than that, I mean, we're not.
I got two fucking.
I'm coming to
salt
get him.
logs
Shut up.
sitting in my fucking yard that I'm getting shit for because it's still sitting
It's still a
there.
drive, so that's like buying it because I got a driveway.
Yeah, Scott, Josh, I'll take a road trip with you to deliver it to him.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
you
deliver it to
meet
him. I'm not
halfway.
driving out there.
But I think other than that, I mean, we bought a mower last year. We bought a lot of smaller equipment, so I don't think we're literally looking at anything really new right now. I mean, a ramp rack would be perfect. I mean, I kind of looked at one of those because I mean, we'd like to go back to the two plow trucks this year, like like we had over the winter a couple times till we had breakdowns. But I think it would be beneficial for throughout the season, really, with a ramp rack compared to a trailer. Especially with wherever you're at, like especially in the city, like you're saying in the city where you got small, tight spaces, compared to some of the areas where you could use an open trailer and stuff. So
I wonder if
Yeah.
it's cheaper to find a welder, or if you do welding, to make your own ramp rack.
You know what? I thought of that, but I got kind of a ballpark price of around $3,000 for the setup. If you look at the cost of steel and what it would cost to fabricate that, I think you'd be more in having a welder come out and do. I mean, if you know
right,
how to do it yourself, you'd probably save about $1,000.
right.
But I think with the cost of steel and the labor it would cost to do it, you'd be upwards of that.
I think it's a good price for what you want compared to like if you go out and buy an open trailer, you were looking at what 8 to 15 grand, pretty much.
Right.
Compared to 3-4 grand on a ramp rack system. Like I think that's a good price.
I think it's $3,000 on like the simple systems, and then you can probably go up to like 8 on like they got the systems that have like the crank down that you can literally just drop the legs down in the back and then crank it up off of the hitch and drive away, which is pretty cool. But my issue is like, so we go into Boston and downtown Boston a lot, and a lot of the guys are uncomfortable driving a trailer down there, which I understand because you have some streets where you're supposed to go
Mhm.
down to get to the next site. There's no other way to do it, and people park like assholes, and it is nerve wracking trying to get down some of these streets, even with a small trailer. The disadvantage is like, okay, now if you have a job where you have to haul debris out of there, now you need 2 trucks to go down with you. It's kind of a pain in the
Right.
ass. So
Right. Here's a good one for you, Josh. We had a comment, and I want to ask you what's your thoughts about this. Roll on, roll off on Instagram says, give a trial to a hook lift truck. This will work as a dump truck and much more. Did you ever think about going that way with a truck? I mean, I see a lot of guys doing the hook lifts, with having dumpsters, dump trucks, flatbeds. Um, would that be something that you might look into as a truck down the road?
that's in my cards right now. So
Okay.
I have the bigger Kodiak. We have the 6500. I'm looking at replacing that dump system, but I'm looking at a hook lip system on it versus a hook loop system on like a newer 550 or brand new 550. So um, I'm playing with that idea.
Okay. Yeah. What would be besides like a dump bed? Would you go dump bed and roll off container, or would you go dump bed flatbed? What would you do on it if you could do it?
Probably a combination for the winter. I like the idea of having the flatbed, the flatbed set up on a roll off for a salter where you can roll it off and push it right off, and then the
Right.
cans to do collections. Like I don't think I'd start like a dumpster company, but it would be nice to be like, hey, drop, you got a big brush job, drop off a 20-yard can, have guys load all the debris up, and at the same time when they're loading up, come drop off, materials with another one. Um, I like the versatility of it. I think it's a smart business move. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I think if you're going to continue in a business that you're thriving, I think it's a good at it on, I noticed one of the companies in our area actually has a flatbed with the salter on the back of it attached, and they literally leave that flatbed and salter on it year round, he said, and pretty much just switch it over to a dump truck,
yeah,
body during the summer. So that way he has that ability to
Mm.
never have to worry about, unattaching the flatbed, for anything else. It's that salter's completely on there for, life really. So I think that's a good plus to it.
we actually I threw cash at like I needed a temporary salt truck, so we bought like an old OBS 473 with a massive flatbed in decent shape, steel frame with a wood center. And that's actually one too where I wasn't even going to keep the truck. I bought it cheap money. I was going to sell it for 50% less just to get the cash back. And now I'm debating a hook lift system on that just to move small material and drum cans off. So that's another one that we're actually I'm having quoted out. It's actually a very long. They extended the frame on it, so I'm not too sure off the top if it's a 14-foot or not. But we're quoting that too. If I could go all that way, I may go all that way. It all depends on if it's cost prohibitive or not.
Right. I mean, if you can do it and it's a good cost, I think that'd be a good thing, Um, roll on, roll off. You should definitely get a hold of Josh, or send me some information and I'll send it over to Josh, because that might, be something he'd look at too. So I think I would too, coming throughout the year. Uh, Nathan's Lawn and Gardens from Australia. What's up, buddy? Good
Wow.
day, legends. He says, not long now to the mowing season kicks in. You're correct, buddy. I think it's right around the corner for me. Probably another 4 to 6 weeks. Josh, what are you looking at? Probably
I think
another 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
at least, yeah,
May, Mother's Day, something like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully you're right behind us or right before us there, Nathan. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. I'd like to see some different changes. What pieces of equipment do you feel like you would add to your business, Josh? Like say 2 years from now.
Yeesh.
I know I'm putting you on the spot today. That's
He's getting into the garbage removal business soon.
No.
you sure?
No, I got a weak stomach. I can't do that.
You can have other guys do it.
Pieces of equipment.
But if you get one of those roll-offs, people could just throw the garbage in and you just dump it.
Yeah, people don't listen. People are assholes. So
Yeah, we joke, man, but that business makes some money.
It
You can make
does.
some
What
money.
about junk removal?
No,
Would you do junk removal?
no.
I see a lot of guys in my area trying to do junk removal and mowing. And I think
Yeah,
that's one of the things that it's a good money if you got a dump trailer, but I feel like sometimes I don't feel like you're going to get the right amount for dumping it. Because a lot
I
of
think
places
the only thing I
charge
would do
differently.
is if I had a lot of cans, I think I know a lot of like general contractors that maybe I would throw like discounted rates to just to keep money flowing and keep cans
Right.
out. But I don't think I wouldn't get into garbage, debris removal, and like that. They'd solely be in-house usage.
Josh,
But
you have right-on aerators?
no, and that's actually one thing I think that's a fucking cash cow, man.
It
The
is.
roll I think again, this is probably dated by like 4 years, 5 years, but I think when I quoted him years ago, a Toro was like 10 grand for a 30-inch, 32-inch. I don't
Yeah.
know, somewhere around that. So they're probably 15 to 16. But dude, I'm telling you, I mean, I was cranking out fucking 20 a day with the fucking beat to shit Home Depot rentals, getting $200 a whack, and it's like, man, those things are a cash cow. I get to get beat on, but for even 16K today, I mean, if you can't make your money back in a year or two of not even pushing it, I think that's a good investment. I think that's a big money maker.
Would you rather go with a regular stand-on ride-on one for aeration, or would you have an attachment like Detach has or like Ballard
Right on.
has that you attach to it?
Right
Which would
on.
you do?
I've never used the attachment ones, but I'd have to say ride on. I think
Right on.
that's specifically what it's made for. So I'd go before that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would too. I mean, I rented one this year, and I think it was one of the best things that we did over the last year. It was just because it just made everything faster, dude. To be able
Dude, those
to, I
push
think.
behind ones just beat you up, man.
Oh yeah, dude. We had to rent one push behind for some smaller backyards, and I'll tell you what, dude. I was done with the front, waiting forever for the dude in the backyard, and it was, he was like, "Oh, dude, I'm getting beat up. I can't. I don't know how you're not, doing it." But it was like I'm riding on it. Like it's nothing, compared to, you know, getting beat up all day for a couple hours. What you're gonna get a walk behind, you're gonna get what 5-6 yards compared to like what you said, Josh, like 20 yards a day, or some
I
bigger
tell you, I
property.
tell you. So I did the walk behind one time, and I well, most of the time I rented the ride on once. And production rates through the fucking roof compared to the walk behind. I did the walk behind ones because if you don't out here, if you don't sign up for the rental of the ride on like 4 months before, you're not getting it. And I did 20 yards a day with the walk behind for 3 days, and I didn't work for a week after that. Like I know exactly. This is when I was in better shape, and man, like my arms and my shoulders and my back were just raw, dude. Like forget it. I used the ride on. The only thing about that is like some of the areas I work with have a lot of ledge, shallow ledge. Fucking hit a fucking boulder that's in the lawn with one of those, you think you're going flying. So you got to pay attention. But man, yeah, you got to figure you could crank out 10 and still be like, all right, I'll do another 30, you know?
Right,
So it's
right.
definitely, if you, it might not be big sellers for certain people, but even if like you would have like, discount it for the first year just to get people in, man, you can make your money back tenfold on that thing. No doubt.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think it's definitely worth it. As an added service. Really, I mean, even if you're not, that's one of the services you're not adding. To pay for it and add that just as a service. I mean, I know like some of the bigger companies like Green and Land Art and some other bigger ones. That's all they have is a crew that goes around and aerates all year round. So I mean, dude, you add on, right on, you could pretty much make a whole business out of it.
But
You
if money weren't an issue, and I wanted to add one thing, I would add one of those Azusa trucks with the trailer setup, like the ramp rack setup in the back, but in between the dump body, the dumps to the side. So you
Okay.
have your rolling trailer attached to you with your
Mhm.
dump access. So you put a leaf vac on the side of that in the fall. You can get your clippings or your brush removal all in there one shot. Quad cab with a crew of 4 guys banging out commercial company contracts left and right.
You heard
All
it
you have to
first.
do is contact
Landscaping to
Super
the
Truck.
point. You heard it first. Landscaping to the point. 2025 landscape product of the year. Ride on aerator.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely right on aerator is the way to go. I think if you're looking for a piece of equipment this year, I think that's the way we go. That or a right on spreader. There you go. That's if you're doing fertilizations, right on spreaders too. It's definitely worth it. I tell you that much. Uh, Tomei Landscaping says use a Hino instead, Hino instead, a better truck than a Zuzu.
Yeah. I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
I'm just using the example of
right.
when you say Isuzu, people know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. But I get your setup. I think that would be one of the best setups you could have, especially if you know, like you said, with a dump part of it, part of it, like a ramp rack system onto it, you know, with a ramp to be able to take. Yeah, I think that'd be the best thing to have. You know, quad cab, have more people in it, and definitely worth it.
Still not better than the Cybertruck.
Cybertruck with a flatbed. There we go.
There you
It's
go.
the next thing. But thanks everybody for joining in. We are done for the night. It's been a good day. Hopefully you guys tune in next week. We're always having fun here. We're always talking some business here, or we're
What are you
talking
doing
about
with your finger, Josh?
He's trying to tap something. I don't know what he's trying to tap. He's trying to tap the likes. He's trying to get as many likes as he can. So, you know, tap that like button. See? And then subscribe. All right. Thank you guys for watching us. Continue to listen to us on any podcast form you're at. Like us and continue to go. So thank you guys, and follow our sponsors. Thank you, Cujo, and to Pro Parts Direct. And we'll see you all guys next week. Later.